Okay, I'm going to talk about the word shalom in the Bible. But first, I'll show you shalom occurs, the first place it occurs. Let's go to Blue Letter Bible. I'll show you. So we look up the word peace, Genesis 15:15. And if we go down here in peace, you see it's the word shalom. We go to the Strong's number H7965, and if you go down, you'll see all the occurrences of the word in the Bible. Genesis 15:15 is the first occurrence of the word shalom or peace. So Google says it's a salutation used by Jews for meeting or parting, meaning peace. And here it says shalom is a Hebrew word meaning peace, harmony, wholeness, completeness, prosperity, welfare, and tranquility, and can be used to mean both hello and goodbye idiomatically. Okay. So there's a slight problem. If you look at Psalms 41:9, you'll see, yea, mine own familiar friend in whom I trusted, which did eat my bread, hath lifted up his heel against me. And this mine own familiar friend is Shalomi, which is related to the word shalom, of course. Jeremiah 13:19 says, the cities of the south shall be shut up, and none shall open them. Judah shall be carried away captive, all of it. It shall be wholly carried away captive. You see that word holy? Shalomi, again, is that word, which is related to shalom. Then the other thing is ha-shalom, and it says, for the seed shall be prosperous. And so essentially it's for the seed shall be shalom. So we see a friend can be shalom. We see that when they're carried away captive, it's utterly, completely they're carried away. And also we see a seed can be shalom. In other words, the seed grows in a good way, in a prosperous way, in a wholesome way. So when you see the word shalom, you have to remember that it's this close friend, this sense of completeness, this sense of growth and fruitfulness for a seed. Okay, so let's back up. We saw that the first mention is in Genesis 15:15, and thou shalt go to thy fathers in peace, thou shalt be buried in a good old age. So when it says go to thy fathers in peace, that is shalom. So we see here, and this is for Abraham, that when he dies, he's going to die in shalom. So he'll have, if you die in peace, you die in a way that you're in health, your life is nice at the very end. Now, I looked at all the occurrences of shalom in the Bible, but I selected ones to help get an idea of what it means. So, in Genesis 26:9, that thou wilt do us no hurt, as we have not touched thee, and as we have done unto thee nothing but good, and have sent thee away in peace, thou art now the blessed of the Lord. So now it was used with Abraham for the way he would pass away. And now it's with respect to Isaac. And these people are saying, to Isaac, that they have sent him away in peace. And they're talking about, thou wilt do us no hurt. We have not touched thee. We have done unto thee nothing but good. So what they're saying here in the case of peace is that they're not going to hurt him. They're not going to fight with him. So that's another respect of shalom for Isaac. Now let's look at Jacob. Jacob wakes up from his dream. That's the one where the angels are ascending and descending, I believe. And in Genesis 28:21, so that I come again to my father's house in peace, then shall the Lord be my God. So in this case, he's saying that he comes back and he's okay. Basically, bad things haven't happened to him. And he returns holy, in one piece, Piece, that he's in health. And he's saying that if he comes again to his father's house, in that way, then the Lord will be his God. So this doesn't just mean peace where he doesn't have a war. It means quite a bit more than that. That is Shalom. Now Jacob, later on, he arrives and talks to some people about Laban, Rachel's father. And he says in Genesis 29:6, and he said unto them, is he well? And they said, he is well, and behold, Rachel his daughter cometh with the sheep. Well, if he says unto them, is he well, or is Laban well, he's asking, if I say, are you well, is if you're in health. So that's HaShalom. And again, that's that word shalom. And it doesn't exactly mean, is Laban in peace? It means, is he healthy? Is he doing okay? Is everything all right with him? And so when you look at that word well, you don't realize that the word behind that is the same word in the case of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, when Jacob had that dream. Okay, now let's go to Joseph. So the word shalom is used with many of the important people in the Bible. So in Genesis 37:4, and when his brethren saw that their father loved him more than all his brethren, they hated him and could not speak peaceably unto him. All right, the word is shalom there. And so his brothers could not say anything good to him. And they, in fact, we know that they planned on violence, in the sense they threw him in the pit and sold him into slavery in Egypt. So, in this case, Shalom is kind of basically they couldn't speak nicely to him. All right, Moses, he's ready to leave and head back to Pharaoh in Exodus 4:18. And Moses went and returned to Jethro, his father-in-law, and said unto him, Let me go, I pray thee, and return unto my brethren which are in Egypt, and see whether they be yet alive. And Jethro said to Moses, Go in peace. That's Le Shalom. So in this case, a father-in-law is telling his son-in-law, okay, go peacefully. So in the case, if you think back to Jacob, Laban did not exactly let Jacob go in shalom with his daughters in peace. In fact, he resisted Jacob leaving, and he even chased after Jacob and met him as he was leaving. So that would be the opposite of letting somebody, a father, father-in-law or a brother or somebody, letting them go in peace, or brother-in-law. So in this case, it's another type of peace that is allowed for Moses here. And in fact, in Leviticus, God speaks to Moses. And I'm going to read a little more verses here because they're good verses, and they give a little context to the part where God promises that he'll give peace in the land. So he'll give shalom in the land. So 26:1-6. Ye shall make you no idols, nor graven image, neither rear you up a standing image, neither shall ye set up any image of stone in your land, to bow down unto it, for I am the Lord your God. Ye shall keep my Sabbaths, and reverence my sanctuary. I am the Lord. If ye walk in my statutes, and keep my commandments, and do them, then I will give you rain in due season, and the land shall yield her increase, and the trees of the field shall yield their fruit. And your threshing shall reach unto the vintage, and the vintage shall reach unto the sowing time, and ye shall eat your bread to the full, and dwell in your land safely. And I will give peace in the land, and ye shall lie down, and none shall make you afraid, and I will rid evil beasts out of the land, neither shall the sword go through the land. So in this case, he's not going to have, there's not going to be war and fighting. I guess the picture is a beautiful land where things are nice. God tells Moses to explain to Aaron and his sons to bless the children of Israel. And when he, in Numbers 6, so he's giving a blessing, having Moses to tell Aaron and the children where they will give this blessing to the children of Israel. And one of those blessings in Numbers 6:26 is, the Lord lift up his countenance upon thee and give thee peace. So here, who is giving them peace? It's the Lord. It's God that gives them peace. And it's given as a blessing. So when they say shalom to the children of Israel, It is a blessing. It is as a blessing from God and for them to have peace. All right. In Deuteronomy 23, I'll read verses 4 through 6. Because they met you not with bread and with water in the way when ye came forth out of Egypt, and because they hired against thee Balaam the son of Beor of Pethor of Mesopotamia to curse thee. Nevertheless, the Lord thy God would not hearken unto Balaam, but the Lord thy God turned the curse into a blessing unto thee, because the Lord thy God loved thee. Thou shalt not seek their peace, nor their prosperity all thy days forever. Shalom. Thou shalt not seek their peace, thou shalt not seek their shalom, nor their prosperity all thy days forever. So, in this case, it was a penalty, and it was something that the Israelites could do. And they can intentionally not give shalom to those people because of what they did. So, it was... now let's look at Joshua 10, 20 and 21. And it came to pass when Joshua and the children of Israel had made an end of slaying them with a very great slaughter, till they were consumed, that the rest which remained of them entered into fenced cities. And all the people returned to the camp to Joshua at Makkedah in peace. None moved his tongue against any of the children of Israel. So here they made an end of slaying people with a very great slaughter. So they're returning in peace. I guess it means nobody's attacking them anymore. And there's a colon, none moved his tongue against any of the children of Israel. So they couldn't say anything. They didn't. They guess they didn't dare criticize them. So they had. There was a type of peace here about what people said about them as well. So they had shalom about that as well. 2 Samuel. And by the way, shalom is in many of the books of the Bible in the Old Testament. It's used in a lot of them. 2 Samuel 18:29, and the king said, "Is the young man Absalom safe?" And Ahimaaz answered, "When Joab sent the king's servant and me thy servant, I saw a great tumult, but I knew not what it was." All right, that word is shalom there when it asks if Absalom is safe. So you don't see the word peace in the Bible, you see the word safe in the King James Bible. But he's asking if the man Absalom is shalom. In fact, let's look. So that verse is 2 Samuel 18:29. So 2 Samuel 18:29. Okay, and if we look at that, see right here is the word shalom. And the king said, "Is the young man Absalom safe?" And you see the word is shalom. So it's clear that even though they use the word safe, it's shalom. And unfortunately, in the English, you miss that. So in the beginning of the Bible, when they talk about shalom for people, like dying in shalom in peace, we also have here that Absalom, if David's asking if Absalom is shalom, it means that, they didn't hurt him, he's healthy, they didn't kill him. So there's an idea of it's in the battle, and David wants to know that Absalom didn't get hurt or killed in the battle. So he's to say if he's Shalom means he didn't, in the middle of the battle, he didn't get hurt and he didn't get killed. But when David is speaking to Solomon about Joab in 1 Kings 2:6, do therefore according to thy wisdom, and let not his hoar head go down to the grave in peace. Be Shalom. And what he's saying is, that Joab, for all the blood he's caused, he's to have a violent death. He's not to just die of, when they talk about people dying of natural causes. Okay, sorry about that. If they're gonna go down to the grave, in Shalom, then you know that they're not going to die of natural causes. It's not going to, not going to be nice. So if you die in Shalom, I guess it's natural. It'll be natural causes. It's sort of the opposite of that here. Psalm 29:11, the Lord will give strength unto his people. The Lord will bless his people with peace. So, Shalom. So, Shalom here could be a blessing from God. He can give you Shalom. Psalm 34:6. To give some context, I'm going to read 6 through 14. And it's a great, Psalm 34 has some great verses in it. This poor man cried, and the Lord heard him and saved him out of all his troubles. The angel of the Lord encampeth round about them that fear him, and delivereth them. O taste and see that the Lord is good. Blessed is the man that trusteth in him. O fear the Lord, ye saints, for there is no want to them that fear him. The young lions do lack and suffer hunger, but they that seek the Lord shall not want any good thing. Come, ye children, hearken unto me. I will teach you the fear of the Lord. What man is he that desireth life and loveth many days, that he may see good? Keep thy tongue from evil, and thy lips from speaking guile. Depart from evil and do good. Seek peace and pursue it. So it says, depart from evil and do good. Seek Shalom and pursue it. So Shalom is something we are told in, God tells us through his word that we are to seek Shalom. We are to pursue it. That's, to chase after it. So this is something that we actively go after. It's a big deal if, we're told in the word to seek something and pursue it. It's a command that we must do. Psalm 37:37. Mark the perfect man and behold the upright, for the end of that man is peace. So if you're perfect and you're upright, then according to that, your end will be Shalom. It will be peace. And peace in all the ways that the Bible uses it. In health, in completeness. Psalm 41, verse 9. Yea, mine own familiar friend, in whom I trusted, which did eat my bread, hath lifted up his heel against me. That's Shalomi. And so this is related to the word Shalom. The consonants in here are the same consonants for Shalom, although these vowels are a little different. I would say that a friend who has this Shalom property is a close friend, like your wife would be a friend that completes you in a sense. David's soul was knit to that of Jonathan. That was a shalomi type of friend. So this idea, again, is one of completeness, something that's healthy, something that's full, something that finishes you in a way that you're not lacking. Psalm 119, verse 165. Great peace have they which love thy law, and nothing shall offend them. So that great peace, that is, again, the peace there is the word shalom. And who gets that shalom? The shalom is a property of those who love the law of God. And it says nothing shall offend them. So God's law, the word there, let's see. What is that? Torah. All right, so the law is the Torah, and that is Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. So you could read this, love thy law. That could be he that loves Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. So in that respect, if you will love the material in there, the things that are written, and you express love for that, you should have great peace. Psalm 119, so great shalom have they which love thy Torah, and nothing shall offend them. Psalm 120, verse 7, I am for peace, but when I speak, they are for war. So that one's kind of almost easy because it's almost given as the opposite of the other. I am for shalom, but when I speak, they are for war. So shalom is almost presented as the opposite of war here. But if you imagine peacetime, in war you have the fields are burning and houses could be torn down and people are killed. And so the shalom here is the trees are growing, the fields are growing, the houses are whole, it's peace, with a lot of substance to it. Like Psalm 122, verse 5, for there are set thrones of judgment, the thrones of the house of David. So let's read. This is giving context. Let's read the rest. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. They shall prosper that love thee. Peace be within thy walls, and prosperity within thy palaces. For my brethren and companions' sake, I will now say, peace be within thee. Because of the house of the Lord, our God, I will seek thy good. Now we know about the Jerusalem that was in Revelation coming down from out of heaven. So there's a lot to Jerusalem in the Bible, both the physical Jerusalem and the heavenly Jerusalem. So essentially, we are praying for the shalom of Jerusalem. So peace is something we pray for. And in this case, it's the shalom of a city rather than the shalom of a person who dies in peace, or the shalom of David's son Absalom. Proverbs 31:1, my son, forget not my law, but let thine heart keep my commandments, for length of days and long life and peace shall they add to thee. So essentially this says, my son, forget not my Torah, the law, the five: Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. So my son, forget not my Torah, but let thine heart keep my mitzvah, my commandments. For length of days and long life and shalom shall they add to thee. So we saw in Psalm 119 that loving the law gives you great peace have they which love thy law. And here, if you remember the law, it will also give shalom to thee. So now Proverbs 3:13 says, happy is the man that findeth wisdom, and the man that getteth understanding. And while they talk about that in Proverbs 3, he notes that in Proverbs 3:17, her ways, that's the ways of wisdom and understanding, that her ways are pleasantness, and all her paths are peace. So also there is shalom in the paths of wisdom. So all the paths of wisdom and understanding are shalom. In Isaiah 9, verse 6, for unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulder. So they're talking about the Messiah there, and of course that is Jesus Christ. For unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulder, and his name shall be called Wonderful, Counselor, the Mighty God, the Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace. So the name of Jesus Christ is the Prince of Shalom, the Prince of Peace. All right, Isaiah 26, we'll read a couple of verses there, 1 through 4. In that day shall this song be sung in the land of Judah. We have a strong city. Salvation will God appoint for walls and bulwarks. Open ye the gates, that the righteous nation with which keepeth the truth may enter in. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee, because he trusteth in thee. Trust ye in the Lord forever, for in the Lord Jehovah is everlasting strength. So that says, thou wilt keep him in perfect shalom, whose mind is stayed on thee, because he trusteth in thee. Isaiah 48:18. O that thou hast hearkened to my commandments, then had thy peace been as a river, and thy righteousness as the waves of the sea. So, O that thou hast hearkened to my mitzvah, then had thy shalom been as a river, and thy righteousness as the waves of the sea. So, here you hearken unto God's commandments. So that's the commandments in the Bible. So study the Bible, study the commandments, listen to them. And that word hearkened is a special word too. Maybe we'll do that in another video if you'd like. Hearken to his commandments, and then your peace will be like a river, and your righteousness as the waves of the sea. Isaiah 52:7. How beautiful upon the mountains are the feet of him that bringeth good tidings, that publisheth peace, that bringeth good tidings of good, that publisheth salvation, that saith unto Zion, thy God reigneth. Of course, I think this is talking about Jesus Christ, and the good tidings are the gospel, the death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus Christ. And it says, how beautiful upon the mountains are the feet of him that bringeth good tidings, that publisheth shalom. So this kind of peace that he's publishing is the peace in Jesus Christ. That's through Jesus Christ. He makes peace through the cross, where he died for our sins. He makes a peace between us and God. Our sins interfere with that peace, and we find shalom through Jesus Christ. Isaiah 53:5. But he was wounded for our transgressions, he was bruised for our iniquities. The chastisement of our peace was upon him, and with his stripes we are healed. Again, that's about Jesus Christ, and the word shalom is used there. It says the chastisement of our shalom was upon him. So, what kind of peace is that? The chastisement, so shalom is our wholeness, our health, the lack of enmity with God, and that was broken by our transgressions, our iniquities. So the shalom is our peace with God, and the punishment is the lack of shalom, actually, the lack of that peace with God. Isaiah 54:10. For the mountains shall depart, and the hills be removed, but my kindness shall not depart from thee, neither shall the covenant of my peace be removed, saith the Lord that hath mercy on thee. And that word peace there, it's the covenant of my shalom. So in this case, a covenant of peace is the sort of the opposite of the judgment that we'd have with God. So yes, so shalom means exactly what I'm saying. If you look back in Isaiah 53, the chastisement of our shalom was upon him. And then you look in Isaiah 54:10, the covenant of my shalom. Jeremiah 8:15. We looked for peace, but no good came, and for a time of health, and behold trouble. So you notice that they looked for shalom, and they mention a time of health there. So again, shalom is this idea of wholeness. Like when you die in shalom, basically it's natural causes. So shalom means all those things. It's the opposite of war. It's the tree that grows. It's health. It's wholeness. It's wholesome, where you're not lacking something. Like a good friend is part of giving you shalom. Your wife would be part of giving you that shalom. Or your husband. Jeremiah 13:19. The cities of the south shall be shut up, and none shall open them. Judah shall be carried away captive, all of it. It shall be wholly carried away captive. So that's the shalomi, where that's that idea of completeness. You know, not just a little bit's going to be carried away captive, but everything is going to be carried away captive. The complete, the whole thing of the city. In fact, I think they took the stuff out of the temple too there. But you check me on that. I think pretty much everything was taken away there in Jeremiah. Jeremiah 16:5. For thus saith the Lord, enter not into the house of mourning, neither go to lament, nor bemoan them. For I have taken away my peace from this people, saith the Lord, even loving kindness and mercies. So there, part of their shalom was loving kindness and mercies. Because you notice it says, even loving kindness and mercies, where it says, I have taken away my peace from this people, saith the Lord. So, and that's, of course, I've taken away shalom from this people. So God can give shalom, and God can take it away, right? The Lord giveth, and the Lord taketh away. Jeremiah 25, verse 37. And the peaceable habitations are cut down because of the fierce anger of the Lord. So that's Hashalom. So in this case, the places that they live in are part of the shalom. So you have your health, your friends contribute to your shalom, and here where you live is contributing to your shalom. And of course, if you don't have a peaceable habitation, the shalom there has been broken. And in this case, in Jeremiah 25:37, and the peaceable habitations are cut down because of the fierce anger of the Lord. So that's part of the judgment of God. Jeremiah 29:7, and seek the peace of the city, whither I have caused you to be carried away captives, and pray unto the Lord for it, for in the peace thereof shall ye have peace. So that's, and seek shalom of the city, whither I have caused you to be carried away captives, and pray unto the Lord for it, for in the shalom thereof shall ye have shalom. So you're seeking the wholesome goodness, the shalom of the city, and you will benefit in turn as well from that and having personal shalom. Ezekiel 34:25, and I will make with them a covenant of peace. That there it is again, a covenant of shalom. And I will cause the evil beast to cease out of the land, and they shall dwell safely in the wilderness and sleep in the woods. Zechariah 6:12 and 13. And speak unto him, saying, Thus speaketh the Lord of hosts, saying, Behold the man whose name is the branch. I believe that would be Jesus Christ. And he shall grow up out of his place, and he shall build the temple of the Lord. Even he shall build the temple of the Lord, and he shall bear the glory, and shall sit and rule upon his throne. See, that's the Messiah, right? And he shall be a priest upon his throne. And the counsel of peace, right? The counsel of shalom shall be between them both. So, all right. And speak unto him, saying, Thus speaketh the Lord of hosts, saying, Behold the man whose name is the branch, and he shall grow up out of his place, and he shall build the temple of the Lord, and he shall build even he shall build the temple of the Lord, and he shall bear the glory, and shall sit and rule upon his throne, and he shall be a priest upon his throne, and the counsel of peace shall be between them both. Now he's a priest is over a temple. Jesus in the book of Hebrews, it explains how he is the great high priest in the New Testament. And okay. In Malachi 2:5, it says, My covenant... Oh, wait. Go back to Zechariah 8:12. For the seed shall be prosperous, the vine shall give her fruit, and the ground shall give her increase, and the heavens shall give their due, and I will cause the remnant of this people to possess all these things. So that the word seed shall be prosperous is another one of those words related to shalom, where the consonants that make up the word shalom are the same. And this idea of the seed being prosperous, like sort of shalom, right, is that it grows in a healthy, fruitful, way, just like we would hope that we would personally be healthy and fruitful. Malachi 2:5, my covenant was with him of life and peace, and I give them to him for the fear wherewith he feared me and was afraid before my name. So you see, God is giving that to him. It's a covenant, and the covenant is life and shalom. So you see how closely shalom is connected to life here, because the covenant is of both life and shalom. And in verse 6, the law of truth was in his mouth, and iniquity was not found in his lips. He walked with me in peace and equity, and did turn many away from iniquity. So he walked with him in peace, in shalom. So he led his life in a way that was in peace with God, because God made the covenant with him. So you see, shalom is repeated several times here. And when you go to the New Testament, and that was Malachi. So we went from Genesis to Malachi, and you saw how shalom is in all through the Bible. Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Joseph, Moses, David with Solomon, talking about shalom, and the prophets, and all the way at the end till Malachi, this word shalom is used. And then if you come in the New Testament, Matthew 10:13, when Jesus says, and if the house be worthy, let your peace come upon it, but if it be not worthy, let your peace return unto you. I suspect when he's talking about peace there, he's talking about their shalom. If the house is worthy, let your shalom be upon it. But if it's not worthy, let your shalom return to you. So that's, something to contemplate. And I think I'm going to make this video the entering video for my YouTube, because this idea of shalom, I think it's a wonderful idea, and it's a good start. And actually, I hope my YouTube channel will minister this idea of shalom to the people that come to it. And of course, ultimately, we see in the New Testament that through Jesus Christ, we find peace with God. Thank you.